What's up, y'all? It's your girl Stacy the Intuitive. Welcome back to my channel. So today I really wanted to come here and talk about intuition. I mean, it's about time, right, that we make a video specifically about your intuition. I do call myself Stacy the Intuitive on here, so it's only fitting. I really wanted to talk about it, and I think that there's an importance in me talking about this right now because it really hits on this very monumental phase, or this very transformational, this very realizational phase of my journey of understanding and working with my intuition. And this message is not going to be about the logistics surrounding intuition, but I will do that if you guys want to hear a little bit more about just deeper understanding of intuition. But today I want to talk about those hunches, those gut feelings, those drawings that your soul prompts within you at different points in your life. And I really want to encourage you guys to listen to those things, because it has been through my intuitive promptings that I have found myself more authentic than ever, found myself in circumstances that I would have never believed before. And here I am, having a lot of the things that I intuitively kind of conceptualized at a period of my life having come true, right? And even just little things. I think that a lot of the time that our understanding of intuition comes to this ability to predict the future. And to me, that's not what it is at all. Your intuition is about your ability to listen to your soul's voice, to listen to the voice of truth that resides within you. A lot of the time, we don't have that capability. We are enveloped in a world that imposes their truth upon us, so it can be so hard for us to find that inner voice, to be able to listen to it and recognize it as truth. And this has been the journey that I've went on. I would say for the past 3 years, I've really went on this strong journey of just literally trying to really refine my experience with my intuition, and it has paid off so much, guys. So this journey for me, this intuitive journey, really took place in my love life, which is just so fitting. I feel like me and God really connect over my love life. I had a lot of intuitive promptings about things, but I also simultaneously had a lot of doubts and fears and things that got in the way of that. And I feel that this journey that I've went on really did initiate me, but not only in my love life, but this is a very pivotal area. It really did initiate me to being able to listen to the voice of my intuition, being able to find resonance with the things that are trying to come through me, and really recognize when I can discern things as truth and maybe as fear, or maybe as, fantasy, whatever have you, because there are other ends of it as well. When it comes to intuition, there is this sense of being grounded and realistic, but there is also this feeling, this inner knowing that you need to tend to, this confidence within yourself, this resonance of truth that will help you along this journey. So let's just get deeper into it, guys. Let's talk about it. If you are currently in a phase right now where you feel that your intuition is calling and guiding you towards something, one of the biggest questions I would have asked back then is, okay, how do I know this is true, right? This is something that I found myself at so many different points of my journey being hung up over. Yeah, I'm trying to live my best for life right now. I love, little sidebar, I love wearing my natural hair, but it's when it dries, it just doesn't dry in the shape that I love. But I'm trying to love this shape too, right? Because I like when it's a little bit more bottom heavy. This is more top heavy, but I'm learning to love it, okay? So yeah, that was a question that I really asked myself a lot during this journey that I had. And when I'm saying this journey, I just want to preface, because I did mention love life, I'm not just talking about my love life. It was all throughout my life. It's all encompassing, right? In just learning to listen to my intuition, learning to hear, God's messages through the voice of myself, because a lot of the times, God's voice is going to be so expansive we can't even hear it. So at the very least, you want to be able to hear that, be able to rely upon your inner voice in order to receive those types of divine messages. You want to be able to know, when a message is coming from a divine source or a divine origin, versus maybe you're just thinking it, just coming up with it. Your intuition, in my opinion, is your soul's guidance. It is your soul's truth. And that's why I say it's very connected to God, because God is the one who has created and orchestrated this sense of truth, this essence within you. Your creator has done all that. So if there's anyone who knows the path you're supposed to walk, it's going to be God. So you're going to have to learn how to use this roadmap of you to understand God's intentions for you. And so, like I was saying, how do you know if it's true or not? I think one of the worst things you can do is really get caught up on this question of, how do I know to believe this? How do I know? I think the biggest thing that I can take with me at this point is when I have an intuitive prompting towards something now, my attitude is like, well, all these things have already happened. Like, I totally trust that. I know how to trust this feeling. I know what a true feeling is within me when it like is leaning towards intuition, if that makes sense. Like, if I have an intuitive prompting, I can differentiate now the difference between that and a soul calling, as opposed to just like a momentary, like, you know, just like a little, like something untrue, or, you know, something that just might be up in the air, right? But for me, so now as I walk this path, I think that one of the most important things that I would tell people is it's not about being right or correct. This entire path that you walk, you're never going to be right or correct, y'all. And let me break that down more because it seems contradicting. What I'm saying is that the way that this path unfolds, there's no way of telling. And that's the biggest thing that this path has taught me, of walking this intuitive, you know, understanding path. There's no way to know how it's going to unfold. The worst thing you can do is try to find truth in the unfoldment outside of you. That was one of the worst things I did. I was basing my truth and my understanding on the external reality. And so in trying to manipulate the external reality and trying to engage with the external reality from that lens, I often found myself sabotaging, delaying all these things. The best thing that I could have done for myself was to have just trusted the feelings that were coming up, and that they were leading me to the place that I needed to be. Because ultimately, any strong feelings, any passionate urges, and passion is just like a barely controllable emotion, anything that comes up within that is trying to guide you somewhere, right? And the best thing I could tell people, follow those guidings and do it without this need to control. You know, I wish I could have heard that, because I followed these guidings and things like that, these passionate feelings, these intense emotions, but I had a need to control the entire time that I underwent this journey of learning my intuition, up until the very last moment of learning, okay, like my intuition played out, like it did what it was supposed to do. I was correct this entire time, but I just didn't know how to listen. I didn't know how to surrender. So that's one of the biggest things about intuition. If you surrender, the truth will come through. The truth will come through when you surrender. And I know that that's hard to hear, because we don't want to surrender. We want to see results right away. But in that wanting to see results, in that looking for results, you actually put yourself even farther away from it, because the unfoldment of it is so much grander than what you can perceive, right? It's so much grander than what you could perceive. You are only tipping the iceberg when you're experiencing the initial feeling. And you have to be willing to let those feelings transform and evolve into different things, to be quite honest with you. Because at the end of the journey, you'll notice that maybe it led you somewhere completely unexpected. And I know that's so easy to hear, but what I really like is this, you know, and this is one of the Abraham Hicks teachings, and it talks about going very general with the things that you are calling into you or whatever have you. This is more so in the end on the lens of intuition, less so towards manifestation. You know, they kind of work simultaneously. If you are walking a path of just like your soul's guidance, then everything that you manifest was already aligned and it came straight from your soul. And so one of the most beautiful things that I have found in this journey is getting general. So if like you're feeling this like generalized feeling of like, I'm gonna be successful here, but you don't put yourself in a position to like check, overanalyze, overly, you know, just like trying to control it, then that feeling can be your guiding force throughout any external changes. And one thing I will let you guys know, in the process of trying to learn how to navigate your intuition, you might experience a little bit of chaos, okay? You will experience a little bit of chaos as your external reality shifts with your internal perception. For me, this showed up a lot because I had a lot of limiting beliefs, a lot of unhealed wounds, a lot of, you know, just self-worth things. So like the things that were wanting to come through, and this might be, you know, prominent for a lot of people because a lot of the time our intuition guides us to our highest version of self. And so if you're not yet aligned with the future that that version of you can see, at least mentally and emotionally and sometimes even physically, it could be very hard for you to overcome those barriers and obstacles of being able to actually trust, of being able to actually see the potential for your desired reality to unfold, right? It could become a little bit challenging in that realm. So what I found to be very helpful for me when I was going through that was to really focus all the messages on my healing at the time, which was so tough, right? But if I could go back with the information that I have now, I 100% would, what would I tell myself? Like, if I could go back to that time where I was experiencing so much chaos and self-worth issues, I would just reinforce to myself that my intuition is telling me something. I feel called and guided to something. It feels true. But I have a lot of limiting beliefs. I have a lot of things that I need to heal before I'm able to believe this. If you find yourself in that very chaotic stage where you are experiencing lots of turmoil as it relates to your intuition being in conflict with your reality, I would take that as a surefire sign that this is like an initiation to a healing phase and things like that. And with that being said, you can kind of prioritize that healing. You can take a little bit of pressure off of what's happening externally, so that the path can unfold in the way that it's meant to. Because I will tell you guys, on this path, like, I would not have expected to end up at this end place, but it unfolded perfectly in the way that it did. But I would not have expected it to end up where it did in the end. And I know that a lot of what happened in between was due to my intervention. And when I finally started to surrender and let God do God's thing as God was intended to, that's when everything became a lot easier. And that's when the intuition just showed up for me. And I think that that's another really important part of this that I want to share. The intuition will show up for you. The reality will show up for you. The feelings of resonance, they will show up for you. You don't need to have it validated. It will literally show up. And I hope that that message is hitting. When I say you don't need to have it validated, it's not like a thing that you need to have proven to you. It will just be. And I find myself in this place right now where I'm like, okay, you know, it's happening. It's literally just, it's just here. The things that I wanted, whether it be like, you know, I had feelings about a certain connection, or I had, you know, I wanted a car, this type of income, and I wanted these things to work out, and I trusted that God would do this and, you know, bring me friendships in this way, or I felt that I needed to navigate in this way. Every single time that I went through it trying to have it proven to me by the external, it didn't work out. But now that everything is happening and I see it and it's unfolded, and now I have this even grander sense of confidence within my intuition. It's very interesting because I'm not looking for anything to be proven, and it actually feels slightly unfamiliar. Like, it feels a little bit disorienting to be in the energy where everything is just happening and I see it and it aligns with what my intuition had told me and what it is telling me now and things like that. It's interesting to see that kind of translation of energy where nothing needs to be proven. You don't need to prove what is. It's kind of that energy. You don't need to prove what is. It just is. And I really hope that like that type of energy can kind of resonate with you guys, and at least like ease some of the burden. Like, and I know I want to say this because I went through the turmoil of trying to learn how to understand my intuition in the battle that okay, y'all, sorry. I thought somebody was trying to touch my car. My heart just like, because this dude got extra close to my car. I was about to run out there. Okay, we're good though. But I know the feeling of the battle. I feel like being initiated to like being an intuitive, like truly like learning how to navigate this world via your own internal promptings is very tough, y'all. It's very tough. And I mean, the strongest soldiers, I'll say. So I don't want to just say like, oh, you just need to trust, but I want you guys to know like it's gonna happen. And if I could describe like the feeling of intuition to anything, it is literally just like an inner knowing, an inner prompting. It's not a wanting. I want to make that very clear because that's the differentiation I think between intuition and, you know, just like attachment is the wanting, the yearning for something. It's like when you are experiencing this energy where you feel like your intuition is telling you something, it's like an undeniable, unexplainable, like, I know this, I feel this, like I'm, again, like that wanting to see it be proven to you. It really does show up more in this mental realm than it does in like this like feeling wanting realm, right? And the feeling stuff does come through, you know, like you might feel the intuitive, like, you know, just like the energy, you might feel it kind of moving through you, but it's not like a yearning, a wanting, because throughout my whole journey, I did want this thing, but I feel that the initial phases were more so of I had like this idea, I had like this inner knowing, like I felt very solid, and it was like, I don't know how to explain it. It was literally like, say that like a whole, this is what's coming to mind, like kind of like a matrix thing, like everything was mapped out in terms of like my inner knowing. And it was, this end is like the reality, and trying to like bend it with that, it's like they're just butting heads. And that was really the energy that I was undergoing, was like my consciousness being completely rocked by it's trying to mend with the external reality. I guess that's how I would say that. You know, these are big concepts, so I hope that it's making sense to y'all. But the only thing that I can really say, because if you know, you know. I know that y'all, if you're hearing this and you're resonating, it's because you get it. It is more of an inner knowing than it is a wanting or a yearning. And the best thing I can tell you guys, it's going to happen. It's probably not going to happen in the way that you think. You probably are going to need to step back a little bit. You're probably going to need to surrender. You're probably going to have to let go, right? But it will come back to if it's for you, and that's how you'll validate it. You don't need to try so hard. And what's more is that you need to focus on what limitations are being highlighted to you through this journey, through what your intuition is telling you. Because if I had focused on that and instead made it that, okay, I have this intuitive prompting, but I'm going to be in my own way before I can get there, I would have probably navigated better. But honestly, at the same time, I feel like whatever was going to happen was always going to happen. The journey was going to be what it was going to be. So I can't say like, oh, I could have changed it. You know, I don't think I would have been able to. There was a lot of chaos, and there was a lot of things, me trying to learn and not control and release all of these barriers from the version of me that I intuitively knew was on the other side to the version of me that didn't even believe that was possible, right? And a lot of this harps on what's possible. And a lot of the time, something that I will tell you about understanding your intuition is that one of the best ways to understand if it is intuition or if it's something else, something that is not intuition, is to get a better understanding of what the thing itself, whether that be the relationship, the job, whatever that's calling you, the path, like the, you know, the calling, whatever the thing is that's calling you, what is it telling you about your soul, right? For me, it was this big thing of like understanding that my journey was going to unfold differently, and that it was possible to have a different experience than all the people around me or whatever. That was what was that was the ideal that my soul was calling me towards. And I could really pair that with a journey that I was undergoing. Whereas if my journey, if I was just walking the journey and there was nothing to resonate it with, to like lock it in with, then that probably would have just been more based on attachment. So you have to be able to understand and go beneath the layers to see what this is teaching you, what this is showing you on a soul level, because only by identifying that soul level will you be able to find truth in what your intuition is telling you, and therefore the unfoldment of the external reality. And another thing with that, I just want to let you guys know, like I just said, it will unfold regardless. And that's one of the biggest things for me right now, as I have seen things unfold, and now I'm in a stage where my intuition is telling me new things. I can look at those things, I'm like, it's gonna unfold. What would be the point in me doing too much right now? What would be the point in me trying to control? It's going to. I know this feeling. I've experienced this feeling. I've experienced how God works through this energy. Let me get out of the way so that I don't cause any further delay, period. So I really want you guys to just think about that. These journeys in the end are always to get you to know yourself better. So if there is something that you can connect to this self journey, then I do think that has to do with your intuition, because there's something to be gained there. There's something to be offered there. And while it may change and shift, at the end of the day, your soul is guiding you there for a reason. You know, the intuitive journey there's so much to it, right? And it's going to unfold in so many different ways. And sometimes you will be spot on. Like, there are areas in my life where I am spot on, and there are areas where my soul was guiding me to something, and it didn't look exactly like I would have initially thought, because I transformed so much through it, and whatever it was transformed so much through it that it ended up being something completely different in the end. But trust that the energy that is calling you will remain. So if it's love, right, that energy is true, and it will reveal very important things to you about your journey, and that intuition will be pivotal.